Hi, and welcome back to the channel. We are continuing The Witcher. This is season 1, episode 8, titled Much More. So, yeah, we're actually wrapping up season 1 of The Witcher now. And so far, it's been some journey, some ride through this season, even just for us watching it, and then, of course, because we're doing these reactions and putting them up there for all you people to see our reactions and what we're talking about, and it's been up and down because we have a relationship to this property and these like the books and the games beforehand, and especially Kat, who has read all of the books, and she did it even before knowing that they were gonna do a series out of it. So yeah, and because of that, it's been reception wise, like some of the time it's been like stop being so critical, stop being so nitpicky, and then at other times it's like um why aren't you nitpicky enough, or why how can you enjoy this since it's not close to the source material, not the exact same things, and it's so far off. But yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, we are just experiencing this just the way we are, and it's
I'm kind of glad we got this season. We're wrapping up this season because I was getting a little bit frustrated at some point that I was not allowed to feel whatever.
Yeah, it's not
About it. So
frustration like aimed at the series for whatever reason. It's
no,
more.
because I've actually I think I made it very clear that I like this series.
Mm,
And when I've been disappointed in stuff, I think it's very valid that I have a valid reason. And I also don't dismiss other people's opinions just
of course
because they're
not.
different.
But yes, let's just jump into the episode. And as always, you can check out our full length reactions to The Witcher and all the other shows that we are doing on our Patreon page. The link is down in the description below. All right, let's do it. Okay. Yeah, that was they ended it on the meeting between Ciri and Geralt, which was that was more of a familiar she fucking hugged him. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she never met him before.
No, like she knew that he was her destiny and all that, and like what she's been told, but she must have been told like exactly how he looks as well, which of course he has a unique look. So um
Still.
yeah, yeah, that was a bit odd. This was just in general a bit of an odd episode. I'm sorry, I liked a lot of it, and it definitely wrapped up the story of season 1, and we are clearly going into like from season 2 on, we're gonna have Ciri and Geralt linked together, and they are probably gonna meet up with Yennefer as well. But yeah, this episode was kind of a little bit all over the place in a sense, and yeah, don't know how I feel about it. But let's try to make sense of everything that happened in this episode. We got the 3 storylines. We got Geralt, Ciri, and Yennefer. That's how we've been doing so far as well. And Geralt, he is escaping from Sintra. Or, yeah, he's in the woods. Maybe he's looking for Ciri, probably. And he comes across this guy, and of course, you can't just leave him to get killed by these necrophages, neckers, ghouls, whatever it was. So he intervenes, and of course, he gets bit. So we've got that. And then we got Ciri also still fleeing from this whole mess, and she was at a village where, yeah, that was the last episode, and she got out there, and yeah, so yeah, where we find her in this one is after she has kind of, you know, made a display of her power once again, maybe like probably without knowing it, and because she was scared and frightened, and like rightly so, because these guys were probably going to do things to her that's not so nice to think about. But they definitely yeah, she killed them and the horse and everything, and then she went back to, she met this this woman again from the last episode, and then we have that, like her going home to them, and then this whole big thing with Sutton Hill and the defense of the North, kind of, with the sorceresses and some sorcerers, and they were waiting for Temeria, and what else did they say? Kedwin? Who else?
All of the Northern Kingdoms.
All the Northern Kingdoms. Oh, okay. But except Sintra, because apparently this happened after the fall of Sintra. So, yeah, that makes sense. And there was a lot going on there with that battle, and then we're shifting back and forth between Geralt, Ciri, and Yennefer. It was very hard for me, at least, to figure out exactly when all, like, if it was happening at the same time now, all of it kind of was, because they were talking about there's a battle going on and Sutton and all that. Nilfgaard is here, so it's kind of, you know, happening at the same time, but there was still some stuff that led me to believe that it kind of wasn't, because at the end there, like, Geralt, he was standing on the battlefield and yelling out for Yennefer, or is that just something in her head, Yennefer's head, even though we didn't see her really after she used, like, her powers and her chaos to, like, yeah, do the fire trick there, because yeah, it's hard for me to figure out whether, well, what happened first there. So did he find Ciri first, and then he went out and went out looking for Yen on the battlefield? Because, like, Ciri asked him, "Who's Yennefer?" And why did she ask him that? Where did she hear that name?
Well, apparently, I don't know. Didn't he ask the merchant to take him to Sutton?
Yes.
Yes.
Or no, yeah. Or he wanted to go. Oh wait, no, he wanted to go to Kaer Morhen, but to get there, he needed to go be like on the other side of Sutton, so he couldn't. The guy couldn't take him there.
So maybe he just took him to Sutton, and then he looked for Yennefer? Perhaps, or maybe this is not entirely synced up.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, sorry, my stomach is going bazoik. Yeah, it's hard to.
Yeah, because I also think they took a little bit of liberties for this one as well in regards to source material. I didn't think it happened at the same time with the whole Ciri thing, like at the exact same time, possibly the same time period, definitely. But I remember he went to Sutton Hill afterwards and thought that it said Yennefer's name on the spoiler alert if it's something that will be in the next season. Sorry, but at they had like a memorial.
Okay.
Set up, and he thought one of the names were Yennefer. So of course he went completely insane, almost, and very.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's maybe something to come. Okay, but I was just, you know, just the what happened when and where, just the. Because at one point it was going back and forth between, you know, day and night, like boom, boom, boom. Where, you know, at one time, like we get Vilgefortz waking up after his battle with Cahir, and which he lost that one, and he woke up and it was day, and he found this other sorcerer guy whom he just straight out just fucking murdered, killed. So I have no idea where they're going with his character. I know that you know, but it wasn't clear in this episode because he just went from, oh, he's a good guy, he's fighting the bad guy, he lost to the bad guy, and now he's a bad guy. What the fuck?
Yeah, but I think the way they did that was to leave us guessing.
Yeah.
And think, what the fuck, and why did he do that? So we would tune in for the next season.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. It was just that he was doing that. He woke up. It was daytime, and then we went to Saya waking up in the forest, and it's night, and then we go to the farm with Ciri again, and it's day. And then we go back to the battle, and they're looking for Yennefer, both Geralt and Tissaia. And then we go back to the farm with Ciri, where Geralt just arrived, and it's day again. And now he's going out in the woods and meeting up with Ciri. So it's just, I'm sure there's a meaning to all of it, and it's, they've thought it out and everything, and it's supposed to be like this, and we're maybe supposed to be a little bit confused. So it's just, to me at least, the pacing and the way the chronology of the events and everything was just a little bit confusing, and yeah, just pacing wise in this one, the battle and everything, I'm not sure I was like 100% like, whoa, this is amazing, this is entertaining all the way through. Like I found myself going like, so what's going on, and for how long have they been defending this? How many of them are left? They mentioned something about there's only 22 of us, something.
22 mages.
22 mages, yeah. But there were also others there with them defending. There weren't a lot of defenders. So it's just, for me at least, it was just hard to keep track of when everything was going on and for how long this battle was actually being fought.
Yeah.
But there was some great like battle stuff in it, great effects and everything. It's just they left a lot up to interpretation, it seems.
Yeah, and there was just, I think it was a little bit, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna be brutally honest. I think it was a little bit messy in the way
they presented things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then those small leech thingies, we just saw that what they did to Sabrina.
But there were a lot of them.
Yeah, exactly. And that was basically what we saw.
Yeah.
And with that, we also just saw Faltist and never saw anything
else.
Yeah. And it's like there were all these small hints and small things we were presented to, but they never gave us any follow-ups to it. And it's just I thought that when people do that, whatever series, movie, whatever, when they do this, I just think it's so messy actually, because they're leaving so many things, like so many threads out there, and it's not well explained or stuff like that. And it looked a bit like there was no people present at the battle, but actually I'm always throwing it straight to the books, but in the books there were actually many armies, because it was a battle of the Northern Kingdoms.
Yeah,
and
maybe that's what's gonna happen at the start of season 2,
perhaps.
Because we just saw Foltest arrive with the Temerian army, and then maybe also all the other Northern Kingdoms are gonna arrive as well, and then there's gonna be a big ass battle. It seemed like it was over, but not really. And then again, like there wasn't like really a clear. We don't know how like, was it that the entire Nilfgaardian army, were they there present at Sutton, or was it just a branch of it?
I think it was a branch, and once again in the books they were led by a person called Cohorn, I think he was called, and we actually, if I remember correctly, we actually follow him on one side of the battlefield, and we follow a lot of. Like we follow the battle from a lot of different viewpoints, and I don't know. It's just, of course, that thing is going to be very hard to adapt into the.
Yeah.
Definitely. So it's
simplifying it is of course that's a good idea. I just didn't.
There
were still a lot of viewpoints in this one.
Yeah, of course, but it's just I think it was just a little bit messy. And of course, if they're gonna pick up on it in the next one, it's fine. But they should focus on other stuff as well. because there's a lot of things they need to cover and a lot of people they need to introduce.
Maybe.
And so that's why I think Kahir actually took over for Kohan here and actually took kind of his side to it. So they kind of merged a little bit of Kohan into the character of Kahir. That's fine, definitely fine.
Yeah.
For 1 second, I thought that Chisaya was gonna die, and I was like, no, it's too early. They cannot. And she's a very nice character, and please keep her. But I think she survived.
Yeah, that's another question I have as well in this one, because there are some characters who participated in this battle that I know of, I've heard about, I know they play a role, and some of them I've met in the games and all that, but it was very unclear who survived and who didn't in this one, because it was like, okay, so did Sabrina survive? Did Triss survive? Who's alive and who's dead, and what happened when and where? And that's at least something for me where when I'm watching, big battles in movies or series, anything like that, I very much like to know, the lay of the land. Where are the armies? Where are the commanders? What are they defending? How are they doing it? Where are the attackers? What angles are they attacking from? And I like to know what's going on the battlefield. And I like to see that there's some sort of strategy. I didn't really get that from this one, because just all of a sudden, Vilgefortz is just, boom, right there and attacking Kahir. So did he get behind enemy lines? Did he just teleport there? And it's like, as I mentioned before, with my question about how much of the Nilfgaardian army is actually there, that was never really to me clear, like how many they were and how they were attacking and for how long. Once again, all the sorcerers and sorceresses, they were defending it, and how were they doing it besides just standing on a hill and doing magic left and right? And you mentioned the thing with the little worms that could apparently crawl into one's ear and then take them over or convert them or something. There are a lot of worms in that little box. But we only saw 3 people turned, and it's just...
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a little bit messy because we get all these and we don't really get the full picture of it. And
that's
and it's like
didn't get the full picture. That's a good description. Yeah.
Then don't show it. I mean, then write it out, because if we look into it, with Sabrina, she stabbed Yennefer, but it didn't. In the end, it didn't matter whether she stabbed her or not, I think. And
didn't she stab her right in the fucking stomach with an arrow?
Yeah. But she didn't die from it, and nothing. It didn't really drive something. I think the only thing that happened with this was just that the kids kind of took out a lot of the army.
Yeah, and everyone inside the battlements in the castle.
And I think they could have done that differently than introducing these weird worms and then just not ever do anything else about it.
Well, of course we don't know if they're ever gonna do anything else, or if at the start of season 2 they're just gonna pick up from this battle again and we're gonna get all our questions answered. That would be great, of course, but to us at least it was just a little bit confusing, and we didn't feel like we got the full picture.
No, but I think they didn't. At first I thought they strayed way too far away from source material, but I just had a look, a very short look, and of course there are definitely details and many things they have rewritten and left out and stuff like that, but in the bigger picture I think it was pretty spot on, except for we didn't see all the northern armies. We basically just saw some peasants and the 22 sorcerers.
And then Foltest showing up at the end.
Yeah, but we just saw Foltest.
And a little bit of his army.
Yeah, and I don't know. I hope they're gonna catch up very shortly on it.
You mean like the season?
In the next season, or like just starting off with explaining some of the, just very shortly, just explaining. Okay, this is went down, and
Yeah.
Perhaps Geralt asked what happened or what was going on, or maybe somebody is talking about this whole battle and are talking about certain stuff that happened, or
Yeah, just
something
that they're
like that.
gonna make sense of everything that went down in this episode, because it's not very clear where it left off, at least, and that's even though we know some of the story beforehand. It's just it was kind of confusing, this one, but still a very clear. It was clear that they were, as we've said in the last one and some of the other, they're building towards something in this season, and this was clearly what they were building towards. It was the clash of the whole Nilfgaard versus the North deal, and then of course the big destiny thing with Geralt and Ciri, and they did meet up at the end.
And what I was talking about in the start, where we see these three, all of these symbols that merge into a symbol with three parts. We see the wolf. That's of course that is
Geralt.
Then we see the onyx star, and that is the onyx star on Yen. And then we see the swallow. And I'm sorry if I am spoiling anything for you right now, but Cyrilla's name in Elder is Ciriel, and Cyril?
Cirilla, isn't that it?
No, Ciriel.
Oh, okay.
It means swallow, basically.
Yeah, okay.
And so she's basically called Swallow in Elder.
Yes.
So that's why it's a swallow, and that's of course Ciri.
Yes, yeah. So
and now we have merged it. In this last episode, we merged everything together into
the three symbols.
The three symbols.
Yes.
Now they are symbolizing they are now
meeting up. Yeah, exactly. And that was a very nice detail. I think that was pretty cool. That was pretty
and
cool.
The way that Ciri and Geralt meet, I think I've actually been talking about this a lot, because I said that once again that Ciri is actually a child of surprise twice for Geralt. Twice, and we actually saw that in this one. But apparently it means that Geralt never went to Brokilon. Or maybe he's gonna. But yeah, except for the whole forest part. It was kind of actually what happened in the stories, and that was how Geralt and Ciri actually got together after I think it was, what was that, the third time they met? And the second time that Ciri actually knew of Geralt. I mean, she didn't know him at first when she was like 6 years old, but she met him in Brokilon in the books, and they decided to go each way, and then again with this.
Okay.
This,
so
merchant.
That's what you mean with the third time. I was like,
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because
but in the series, at least in this story that we're watching,
that's the first time. Yeah.
She saw him, or he saw her, or something. You know, like we saw in the last episode in Sintra.
Yeah.
So that was technically their first meeting, but not really, because they didn't really meet.
And she didn't know it was him looking at her.
Yes, but in this one, they definitely meet each other.
Yeah. I was just saying that she was a child of surprise twice.
In what way?
Well, at first, with Pavetta and Dooney, and Dooney said, I offer you a child of surprise, and then it turned out the law of surprise, and then it turned out that Pavetta was pregnant.
I get.
And even the second time, when it's like, come on, Disney has been throwing hints at you all the fucking time. Go find her, goddammit. Then she ends up being a child of surprise the second time.
Yeah, and that's because
the merchant didn't have anything to offer Geralt for saving his life. So of course he just evoked the child of surprise, law of surprise. Sorry, and that means when he comes home, the merchant comes home, and his wife suddenly has found a girl in the woods. It's like that's a surprise for him. And the girl is, or in a village, whatever. And then the girl is, of course, a child of surprise, and is, once again, by destiny, is bound to...
Yeah, it's Ciri, and But one thing that I'm definitely curious about as well is Geralt's past, because we got a little bit of that, and his mother, who just left him. It seems like she just left him, or asked him to go fetch some water, and then he got back, and she wasn't there anymore. I kind of got the indication that she left him close to maybe Kaer Morhen or close to Vesemir. So that's when Vesemir kind of adopted him in a way, and we got a little bit like someone talking, and that was Vesemir, or that's what the subtitles said at least. We haven't, they haven't casted Vesemir yet, as far as I know, but there's a campaign, an online campaign that I've noticed at least, where people really want Mark Hamill to play Vesemir, and Mark Hamill might also be interested in playing Vesemir, or just playing a character in The Witcher. That could be cool if it turns out to be Mark Hamill who's going to play Vesemir. But either way, I'm interested in hopefully meeting Vesemir, the character of Vesemir, in the next season, because that is a very important character to Geralt and his past, which we got a little bit of.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, what I said previously about me really looking forward to certain parts, I really look forward to meeting people like Kaer Morhen. I really look forward to it. Like the witches and just being at Kaer Morhen. I'm looking so much forward to it. I think it's one of the short stories where we actually get a lot about Visenna, Geralt's mom, and that whole backstory. But he actually meets her, as shown in the series at some point. I cannot remember exactly when, but we do get to meet her. And what I was a little bit sad about was that resentment, or that aversion, that very strong aversion towards Visenna that Geralt actually had. Of course, I can understand rejection, but I didn't recall him being that bitter about it. But that's just me. What I was just about to say is that, well, she's healer, magical healer.
Yeah,
and
I think they conveyed that in the episode.
Yeah,
as well.
and there was something about, I think his father was a knight, and
that they haven't told us anything about.
Well, she clearly know about Kaer Morhen, because she actually gave was fully intentional that Geralt was
abandoned near Kaer Morhen.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Because she knew, it seemed like a lot. It seemed like she actually knew Vesemir, because he mentioned him. And she was not like, who the fuck is Vesemir?
Yeah. We talked about that earlier. Yes, she probably left him around Kaer Morhen. Yeah.
So I think it was very nice that they included Visenna.
We could probably go on and on and on about the series, this episode, how it ended, and book comparisons. What did they include? What didn't they? And all that. But I think we should maybe just call it quits and wrap it up now and say goodbye to The Witcher for now. And thank you all for following us on this short story or short journey so far. Only 8 episodes. Maybe the second season is going to be longer. I don't know. But what we do know is that we're not getting it until at least 2021 at some point. So they are spending more time on the second season, as far as I know, and from what I've heard. Like, it's because of, they want to make sure that everything looks great, and they're going to do some rewrites and stuff. It's probably all rumors. We'll know when the series, or the second season of the series drops. I am losing the ability to speak, so it's a good time to wrap it up. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Do you have anything else you want to add to this? Any hopes or expectations for the continuation of the Witcher story on Netflix, now that they're moving into the saga, at least? Do you think that they're gonna be more gonna adapt it, or do an adaptation that's more closely related to the saga, or do you think they're gonna take a lot of liberties like they did with this first season?
They're gonna take a lot of liberties, but it's because it's so hard to actually do the adaptation, because I said there's a lot of people, both minor characters and bigger characters, And that's gonna be so hard, especially when we come to some of the stuff where we see the same events from 100 different, no, but
a lot of different
a
angles,
lot of different
and
angles, yeah.
perspectives. Yeah,
And that's gonna be very hard to do, I think,
Yes,
in the
yes.
adaptation. So, and I think they're gonna skip some things, and I think they're gonna take some liberties, definitely.
Yeah,
and I
sure.
think they have already taken some liberties that
are gonna change stuff going forward, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with characters, and I look forward to so many having so many different characters introduced that we haven't met yet, and I'm looking so much forward to it.
Yeah, me too, definitely. But yeah, but what I really meant with this was that, you know, this first season, it being short stories, and they are trying to weave the short stories into what is going to become the saga and the story about Ciri and Geralt and Yennefer. And I think that, you know, just to in defense of the people who are doing this series, I think it was probably really fucking hard to do this first season and make it still seem like it's part of the same story and a continuation. And also because a lot of people are very much used to these shows now where it's everything's very chronological, in the sense that, you know, we're following one continuous story, and a lot of these shows, they just get dropped like one season at a time and people binge it, and it's not really the same as it was just 10-15 years ago, where we were way more used to these more serialized monster of the week type of shows that we've gotten a little bit of in this season, and then together with the story overall. And I think that's why maybe some people have been like, what the hell is going on in this series? It's so confusing. And that is because they're jumping around a lot and they are trying to weave stuff together. So it was probably a big challenge, but I think they, all things considered, did a pretty decent job with the first season, and it's gotten a lot of people hooked. So a lot of people have watched this, and I'm sure many people are going to be tuning in for the second season, just as we are when we get there at some point. Yeah, so that's gonna do it. Do you have anything more you want to add? Sorry, honey.
I think I had, but I've forgotten now.
Yeah, sorry. It's late and we've been talking for a long while, and there's a lot going on. So let's wrap it up for real this time. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching and following us on this journey, and we will see you hopefully as soon as possible. Bye.
Bye.